Welcome back to Biashara Tuesday. We are here still on live and doing it as ever. We never stop and we'll never stop. You can tell us that on social media at KUTV Kenya, at Richard_or Kenya. Fika pale, halafu tuambie where you're watching from, and then let us have fun here on the show. There's going to be a brain teaser later, so if you're at home, be excited for this general knowledge section, which comes a bit later. But now it's a newspaper review that we are taking a look at. Here, once more, from last week, is Nick. He joined us last week, Tuesday. We discussed several, the week before that, actually, where we got to, take a look at what was happening on the dailies. Nick Mwangi, he actually always insists to be addressed by all his three names. So Nick Mwangi is the National Executive Director of the Mount Kenya Association of Students, and we are having a look at what your dailies have to say this morning. Maybe he has already looked at the People Daily, so if you have the People Daily up onje, unaweza tuambia. We have the Standard, the Daily Nation, and the Business Daily. Let me have a look at the headlines fast, real quick, and then since Mwadime has the Business Daily, I think ataniambia headline ya Business Daily, and then we get to know what the People Daily has for us. But and then I want you to introduce yourself first, and then so that when I say the headlines, I get your reaction, and then we can get to the details. Yes. You pull out your telescope.
Yes, I have to look.
I have to magnify.
I have to look.
Read between the lines. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you so much, Richard. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you again.
My name is Nick Mwangi, the National Executive Director at Mount Kenya Colleges and University Student Association, and it's good to be here. Thank you to the KU management, producer Ryan, producer Boniface, and you, Richard. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, man.
Yes.
And thank you for creating time. It doesn't make sense. That's what the Standard has for us as the headline, the top headline. It doesn't make sense.
Yes.
It doesn't, even without looking at the stories, although I'm very sure you have.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense.
Yes. Well, Richard, life has become very costly, and everyone is complaining. The consumers, the producers, and the retailers that Rutonomics is not working anymore. That the cost of fuel has shot from 197 to, that is now petrol, to 211. That is almost 10 plus shillings.
Yeah, 20.
That is actually 24.
Yeah.
And the consumers are saying, we are not going to take this burden.
It doesn't make sense.
Yes, we are going to directly have the people who are consuming our products take the blame, or have it at stake.
Right. And the Standard actually rightfully uses, I think I love the Standard this morning. I'm sorry to the Daily Nation, which I will get to in a bit, and they have a headline I don't like seeing at this time. It's just one, Daily Nation. Just let's have it aside for a second.
Yes.
They have an image here, if you can have it on the screen, the front of the Standard, which is just right below. It doesn't make sense, and we'll get to the details of Rutonomics. But here we see thousands. It was more than 7,000 according to reports from the Standard, that is from yesterday. More than 7,000 youth showed up, and these have all undergone NYS training before. So hata tujafika kwa wale ambao hawajapitia NYS, because they were recruiting or looking to recruit into KDF 350 of these who have already undergone NYS training before. More than 7,000 people showed up. More than 7,000 youth showed up for 350 slots. Does it make sense?
Well, Richard, it's a very sad state. I remember last week when we were discussing about recently that young people are looking for jobs.
Right.
That they're desperate for any kind of job. And you see, the Standard puts it, desperate for a job, any job. Now, the risk we're having that we have thousands and thousands of people looking for jobs, and only 350 slots are available, right? And when you say any job, what happens to the rest that don't get the 350 jobs? Increase crime rate.
Because that's any job.
That's any job.
Right.
Increase mugging, right? And you see currently you have increased terror attacks.
Drug and alcohol abuse.
So who's going to have this conversation?
Okay.
And that's why the Daily Nation is saying it does not make sense.
The standard.
Yes, the standard.
It doesn't make sense.
I understand why you're really pissed by
that. I'm not for the Daily Nation today.
I agree.
Get to it. But this story is also on page 4 of the Financial Standard, where experts are now poking holes in President William Ruto's explanation on why the cost of living is going through the roof, with little government intervention to tame it. They say that when the economy is ailing, stimulus packages breathe life, but increased taxes are snuffing it. So we are seeing a reduction of stimulus packages, subsidies, tax-free importation, and we are seeing more of taxation. They say,
manufacturers are saying that they will pass the cost to the consumers. Right? And you see, it's very scary that recently we've seen the CS for Trade saying that the tax will be going higher each month. Right? This should scare the consumers. And the manufacturers are saying they're not going to take that bullet. As a matter of fact, they're going to dodge it, Richard.
And push it over to the consumer. Employers have been doing that. Have been doing the same thing, increase of taxes, housing levy, which has to be deducted. Employers have had to let go many of their employees and pass over, of course, all these business costs through taxation to the consumer, to the final employee.
And it makes me even more worried because recently I had a conversation with my fellow leader here in KU because if they were buying ugali at 30 bob, and now it's at 70 bob. It's all traumatizing that from 30 to 40, that's a huge disparity. And shockingly that it's going to rise from 70 to 100 shillings. Now, if students are going to suffer at university level, they're going to suffer going to class with the high fees rate. So one begs to ask, where is this country heading to?
Right. Yes. The Daily Nation, though, thinks the country is heading towards 2027. And I'd love to know who the editor is for this piece today, because the front of the Daily Nation prioritizes Raila's 2027 bid. We're having a conversation on Raila's bid for 2027 as early as 1 year after the general elections of 2022. Is this something that you'll have at the front of the Daily Nation?
Well, my friend called me yesterday. Is an ODM supporter, as I am a Jubilee supporter. He told me and reminded me that Baba Podopek.
Through and through.
Baba is still strong. So I laughed it through because I know that it is a very sad state that we are still politicking 2027, yet we have a crisis of food, we have a crisis of fuel economics. And that's why you see Treasurer at page 4 and 5 of this paper, National Treasurer of ODM, saying his name is Josephat. Is it Josephat or Joseph?
Right.
Yes, he's saying that Baba is still strong, and he might take the 6th stab. But again, Baba is saying he's not quite sure about 2027.
Man has been saying that since 2007. I remember he said that in 2013 he will not partake in the election. 2013 was the last MOU between him and Kalonzo. And 2017 he was back. 2017 said it's the ini ya mwisho kabisa. 2022 he was back. But now the 6th stab.
Come to think about it, Richard, 2027, who will go against Ruto? We get to that question.
There's many within the camp. You're as you said, you're from the Jubilee side, which is in Azimio, and Azimio has many of these people. If we look at this picture here, he's flanked to his left by Martha Karua, who was running mate in the last general election. On the right, Kalonzo Musyoka, former VP and also running mate from way before in 2007. So those are viable candidates. I don't think we can brush them off.
I agree totally. But are they strong candidates?
We'll get to find out. So, since this is a political story at the front of the Daily Nation, I really didn't want to get into the details of it, but do you think we should?
Well, Richard, politics runs this country, right? And currently you will see that among the demands that Azimio is making at the national dialogue is the cost of living needs to go down, the cost of fuel needs to go down, the cost of food price, the embarrassment that happened at Citizen TV whereby the CS of Trade was arguing about the cost of edible oils. He had to be taken to Naivas supermarket in the home turf of the president William Ruto. So those are very disturbing conversations.
And you cannot separate them from politics.
You cannot separate them from politics. In as much as we want to run away from it, but history class 101, factors that affect the government. Political affairs, social affairs, and economical affairs.
Okay. Now let me ask one last one before we move away from this political story. That I'm really not in favor of having at the front of the dailies when we're discussing fuel prices and food prices and El Nino coming up and many issues that are paining Kenyans. But there's a secret push. So apparently ODM leader Raila Odinga and I've seen this before from 2017 and 2013 where he says, some people are pushing me to vie again. Ile sitaki. Wanasema mimi sitaki, sitaki, and then he vies. Is this I'm pretty sure you're someone who's been in the political game for a minute there. Could that be is that a political
statement?
A statement, just to test the waters and then come back and say wamenilazimisha, I'm the people's president.
Ideally, when you go into politics, let me bring it to a lower scale level. At the university level, people have to sit down at a round table and look at who are the opponents and who is strong enough to go into the ballot. Right? Raila may not necessarily want to be on the ballot in 2027, but his followers, his distinct, let me say, admirers, may want him on the ballot 2027. And again, Richard, politics is one day and it's also 1,000 days. A lot could happen in between.
Okay.
Yes, we've had a conversation of national dialogue. Previously, people were saying that they want a handshake, but it's not. And a lot also could happen within the next 4 years, right? We could see so many lineups, so many endorsements, because Kalonzo and Martha Karua are expecting Baba to endorse them. So until then, that's why we call him an enigma. He will want to keep you guessing.
All right, as early as now.
As early as now.
Right, and you've said there a statement that I think I'll take away home. Politics, or is it elections, is a one-day affair, but also 1,000 1,000 days as well. Yeah, you can start now, sharpening your axe, and then spend 1 minute to cut the tree down when the time is ripe. Speaking about that bipartisan talk, on page 6 of the Standard, they have that point of departure for talks team, which is that conversation between the opposition and Kenya Kwanza. When we were here the last 2 weeks, we said that they've postponed the talks again to the other Monday. And now they've pushed it again to this Friday, where they'll be presenting this memoranda. Any hopes so far? Because the last time we talked here, it was like maybe it's a political game. They are biding time and all that.
Well, as I said earlier, Azimio has new demands, and among them is the cost of living, interference of political parties, that they call it, for lack of a better word, they don't want political prostitution. That you have been elected by, for example, Jubilee Party, because of your political interest, you jump into UDA. We've recently seen Langata MP, Jalango, aka Jalango. He's in hot suit. That the party needs to de-whip him. And the Azimio says that even in Parliament, the Speaker cannot intervene on who is the minority whip, who is the minority leader, because those are matters of the minority, and that is why they're raising such issues. They're also talking about harassment of the police and also demand of political motivated prosecution among its leaders. So these are some of the issues that are facing the hurdles among the push and pull at the dialogue level, because they are currently at day 20. So there's no talk of a handshake at this point. Could we say maybe finally we're having a sober discussion? Well, on the other side, Kenya Kwanza is still insisting on a handshake, because they are trying to also to divert the conversation of the cost of living, to divert the conversation of fuel price, because those are the real issues affecting me and you, Richard. That is what we need to talk about. And at the end of the day, we will sit here, discuss about what is important and what's not important. The issue about the leader of opposition in parliament, the issue about the prime cabinet secretary, that during the campaign period, the Kenya Kwanza government said, wale majamaa wanataka kufanya nini? Kuongeza vyeo. But they're here talking about
solidifying more positions for themselves as well. Yeah,
you understand? So it's a whole conversation that we will see where this dialogue takes us. But I'm hoping for the best, because I'm really keen. We talk about matters that affect our people, that like the cost of living, like the cost of fuel,
right?
Because the cost of fuel determines almost every single thing in this country. Yes.
All right. So as well, while we're talking about that, at the front of the Daily Nation, they have the Treasury, which is seeking an additional 140 billion to pay salaries.
Yes.
And this is recurrent expenditure. So Kenyans are going to continue to bear huge economic burdens, as President William Ruto is now, President Ruto backtracks on his spending plan for the current year. He's proposing an additional recurrent spending this year by 140 billion. And now data here is showing that it's increasing by 162. Yeah. Current financial year, Treasury reveals that 162 billion all the way to 3.91 trillion. So that's more than 86% of the additional spending which will go into recurrent expenditure, and just paying salaries. And
that is a very dangerous proposition to go to, because this is the taxpayers' money, right? So many Kenyans are suffering with the increase of taxes. And Richard, if you are earning 30,000 and 10,000 is going to taxes of 15,000, then you have 15,000 in your pocket. How are you going to survive in Nairobi?
You cannot.
So I'm very keen to understand that if they're going to increase 162 billion, where is this money coming from? Is it still our taxes that they're talking about? Are we going to have introduction of new taxes? Because, Richard, not unless we have a sustainable way of funding the budget of our country, then it's a very risky state to try and convince Kenyans that we are going to tax you more so that we pay few individuals more salaries.
Right. Yeah. Runaway corruption, budgeting expenditure, people traveling day and night to trips that not bring value. It doesn't make sense. That's what the Standard is continuously telling us. I want us to break it a bit with a comical story here of prodigal son.
Yes.
When is the longest you've ever ghosted someone? You know, ghosting is a Gen Z term. A Gen Z term for someone who's, disappeared into thin air.
Yes.
So maybe it's someone telling you, I'll be back. We have this common saying in Kenya, which is, wacha niende hivi na kam. Yeah?
Yes.
So there's a man here, Joseph Odongo.
Joseph Odongo from Homa Bay County.
Yeah, he said, wacha niende hivi na kam.
Yes.
And that was in 1972.
Yes, he disappeared for 50 years. He went to coast. He allegedly says that his life was in danger.
His life was in danger for 50 years?
Yes, and he's being asked, why did he not marry? And he says that in 1981, 1982, there was a huge pandemic of HIV and AIDS, so he decided to say sting.
So the idea of having a wife came to him during the HIV pandemic.
Yes.
That's why he couldn't get a wife.
Yeah, so it's very dangerous, Richard, that, but again, these are things that are very common in some counties, especially in Nyanza region, that people disappear due to family disputes, because there are so many cultural practices such as witchcraft, such as whatever they want to do. But Joseph Odongo appears 50 years down the line. He's 81. He disappeared at the age of 31 years. He's currently 81. He comes back, says that the piece of land that his father gave him, gone.
It has already been
because the family
subdivided.
The family thought he died, and now he's coming back as a foreigner to his home.
50 years later.
Yes.
Kulikuwa na jam. That's what I'd say.
Traffic.
Nimepata traffic hapo kidogo from 1972.
Ama alienda kununua mafuta Ruiru.
Oh man. What were Ruiru if you have prices of edible oil? Please send them to us. But you can read that comical story on page 3 there. Now, they're calling him prodigal son.
Yes.
This should be
a prodigal old man.
Old man, yeah?
Yes.
Prodigal father. Does he have kids?
I understand that a son is a son. You'll always be your mother's son or your father's son, no matter the age. Your home will always be your home, no matter how long you take to come back.
Okay.
Yes.
Right, 50 years later. Read that story and tell us what you feel about it.
Yes.
So, kama unadhani mtu amewahi kughost, you can be ghosted for 50 years.
Yes.
And then see them way later.
Yes.
Nick,
yes.
Picking it up from there.
People's Daily today is talking about, page 3 is talking about my classmate, Eric Maigo, who was stabbed 25 times at his home. He was attacked by unknown people at his home at 6 p.m. Yeah. So I want to send condolences to his family and also to all my classmates at Strathmore University. It's very sad that among the suspects called Cynthia, he's in custody, and yesterday Principal Magistrate Benson Ochai told the DCI that we are going to still hold this lady for 5 more days. So such issues that are going on about stabbing, about insecurity, I think it's time we talk about such issues, Richard.
Right, national values.
Yes, and it's very sad because Eric was a very good man. Dying at the age of 37, it's so sad. Yes.
That's young.
Yes, that's young.
Condolences, of course, to him, to the family of your friend there.
Then interesting story about Moses Kuria and Gachagua. There was a really exchange.
Was it a direct exchange, or did we insinuate?
It was a direct exchange on Twitter. Moses Kuria at some point he had to delete a tweet.
Right, where he said, it's a inferiority complex.
Yes. That is, you see, you don't attack your boss below the belt.
Right, and we've seen that kind of internal wrangle. And when I was starting the show, I did mention that Kalwale is at the forefront of saying, fire CS of energy and also fire CS trade, Moses Kuria and other people who are involved in painting the Kenya Kwanza government in such kind of light. What does that tell you with Ruto's governing his people?
I remember our Nairobi Senator, Edwin Sifuna. He was very keen during the vetting of the CS. And he says one of the mistakes that President Ruto did is vetting or employing CS that will really, really seriously embarrass him. So the embarrassment have started showing themselves that this guy does not care. Yes, he comes to any social media channel, insults the reporters, the anchors, everyone. Now he's even insulting his boss.
And Kenyans.
Yes, you remember the other day he was late in State House. But again, that's beside the point, Richard. To me, this does not give public faith or hope, especially during these difficult times.
Right.
And
but he calls it voodoo. He says if he offers anyone hope, that's magic. And he's just here to give you the reality of what the situation is like.
But you understand, Richard, the main purpose of us leaders is constantly giving hope to our people, reminding them that all is not lost.
Brighter days are ahead.
Brighter days are ahead. Because when President Uhuru was in office and he talked about the war in Ukraine and Russia affecting the prices of fuel, they said, no, you're not working. You went into handshake with Raila Odinga. Now this same thing that they were criticizing is now on the table.
Right.
And now they are blaming the war in Ukraine and Russia. So at a very sad state, we want, of course, at the end of the day, this is still our country. And when it burns, it does not burn in opposition only. It burns as a country. It does not burn, no matter how you voted, Richard. Whether you voted for Kenya Kwanza government, whether you voted for Azimio government, this is still our country.
Yes.
And I want to applaud Kenyans who are saying that it's very important that we have this discussion of fuel price. We have this discussion of cost of living. We have this discussion of food, because so many people cannot even afford a meal in a day.
Right, 1 meal has become a problem.
1 meal in a day.
Yeah.
People are living below the $2.
Right.
It is very sad, Richard.
We're coming back to take a look at the Business Daily and maybe something else that we've left there. But take this.
Okay.
Are you aware of what we're about to do?
Yes, Richard. You know, last time I won.
Oh man. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I've gotten any better.
Yes, it was not rigged.
Yeah,
yes.
That was fair and square. You beat me on that one. And I was beaten actually. Then the next week, bro. That was not a good way to start my month. But let's see if I can finish strong. These are some of the general questions we are tackling today. If you're at home, answer them. Alafu pia utuambie kama Bruin ulikuwa keen kwa darasa. Let's begin. We have 10 questions, and then each questions you have 5 seconds each to write down your answer as you move quickly to the next one. These have been prepared by my producer and the team behind there. Let's begin. What does USAID stand for? All right, question number 2. Right, USAID. Oh, I almost read my answer. USAID. This question number 2. Which is the largest mall in Kenya? Which is the largest mall in Kenya? Next question there. Who is the current CEO of CBK?
CEO, the governor.
CEO or governor?
Yeah, there's no CEO.
Governor, right? That has to be governor. Okay. All right, question number 4. Question number 4. Traffic lights in the order they appear on the roads. Hey, minimum of matatu bana. Right, traffic lights in the order they appear on the roads. Oh man. All right, next question here. Which is the highest mountain in the world? Which is the highest mountain in the world? Hey, Ndikambio. What are the big 5 animals in Kenya? All right. Question next. Please, let's. What are the projects under Kenya's Big 4 agenda? What are the projects under Kenya's Big 4 agenda? Ati to may guess. Who is the governor of Kajiado County? Oh no. Can I say his former job? Ay. Oh man. Which year did South Africa gain independence? Man. Leo mmetuwai. Oh, they found me. They got me today. Next question. In which country is the UNEP headquarters? In which county?
Country. Okay.
County is the UNEP headquarters located? Has to be. Okay, I think that's what we have. Yeah. Anaitongan Ole Nani.
I just know Joseph Ole something.
Ay. Found it. Okay. Let's see. Kweli? Leo naweza kupiga wallahi. Leo naweza kupiga 10. Let's get the answers. Question number 1, USAID, what does it stand for? It is, let's get the answer. United States. Let's see USAID. What does USAID? United States AIDS International Development. United States Agency for International Development, right? So what do I do with this?
Half a mark.
Half a mark?
Hata umepata half a mark.
Ni vile hiyo sikupata time. Time ilikuwa half a mark. Next question is, which is the largest mall in Kenya? It's not Westgate. It is Two Rivers.
That I didn't know.
Okay.
Kamau Thuge. I forgot about Kamau Thuge.
You also wrote the former job. Yeah. Question number 3, who is the current governor of CBK? Kamau Thuge, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You wrote former PS of Treasury. No, I don't know. A quarter maybe, bro. Next question. The order of traffic lights in the order they appear. So it's red, amber, and green. Red, yellow, and green. Yeah, it's amber. It's amber or yellow, right?
Yeah.
It's a variation of yellow.
Yeah.
So we got it
depending
both.
on where you went to driving school.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Some driving school teach yellow, some teach amber.
Okay. Which is a better driving school?
You want to put me into marketing?
Which is the highest mountain? Which is the highest mountain in the world? Mount Everest, yeah? Okay. Question number 6. What are the big 5 animals in Kenya? Lion, elephant, buffalo, rhino. Rhino, no? Leopard. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is the correct answer? That's it? Okay. Did I get them?
You only missed giraffe.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But it's not big. Like it's big upwards. All right. Anyway, question number 7. What are the projects? What are the projects under Kenya's Big 4 agenda? So there's housing.
Yeah.
There's health. Food security. Manufacturing. So
Only got
you only got housing. What did I get? Got housing.
You don't have. You just have health.
Health. That's all.
Yeah.
Education, poverty. I wrote something. Anyway, who is the governor, Kajiado County?
Joseph
Olelenku. Yeah.
Right.
I got it finally.
Yeah.
Next question there. When did South Africa gain independence?
1994.
1994.
That's when Mandela was released.
What happened in 1976? He went to prison. Oh man. Last question there. Which county is the UNEP headquarters located? It's not Nairobi. That's not Nairobi.
I think it's
Gigiri iko Kiambu. Oh man.
It's county.
Okay.
It's not country.
No, county. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and half and a quarter. So that's 6 1/4. Right.
1, 2, 3.
What do I have?
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right.
5 and a half.
It is Nairobi. UNEP headquarters ni Nairobi. Nimakie Nairobi bro, ndo nikupite hapa sasa hii. Mark Nairobi hapo nikuonyeshe. Mark Nairobi nikuonyeshe. It is Kiambu.
Kigiri is Nairobi. Kigiri is in
Nairobi. It is Nairobi. The UNEP is in
Kigiri is in Kiambu, where Two Rivers is. Two Rivers is in Kiambu County. Ruaraka. Ruaraka is in Nairobi. Tutaremark baadaye, but you have 6 1/4. I have 6 1/2. Right? Sema I beat you. Please let them know I beat you today. We shall come back and revisit.
Okay.
Yes.
Please, unfortunately, time is not on our side at all. So we're going to have just the last quote here.
Yes.
That is at the back of the Business Daily.
Okay.
Which we usually close with, and then I'll wrap it up.
Just before I read the quote, first allow me to congratulate my sister. She got married this Saturday. I just want to tell her that atalipa housing tax nyingi sana. Congratulations to Rose and Edwin, and happy marriage. So the last quote of the word is: the worst pain a man can suffer, to have insight into much and power over nothing.
Let's get it again.
The worst pain a man can suffer, to have insight into much and power over nothing.
Who said that?
Herodotus.
Yes. All right. So
yes, that's
meditate
a Greek
on.
Historian and geographer.
All right, meditate on that one, as we also give a shout out to Odhiambo Otieno, great conversation. Richard on Biashara Tuesday. Josie Olalo, thank you, Senior Charles, who was here before speaking about advocacy and policy. And then here Jessica Motho, enjoying my favorite session of Biashara Tuesday. It's this one.
Yes,
He's enjoying this one.
Yes,
yeah?
yes,
And
yes.
you've been here, Nick. Jesse has been here on the show before.
Yes.
He loves to see what is happening.
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
Thank you,
yes.
Jesse, for tuning in.
Yeah.
And as I close it up here on Biashara Tuesday, thank you for tuning in. And this has been an exciting show on KUTV Rise Today. Next week on Monday, you get Karen Blessing. And then on Tuesday, I am here on Biashara Tuesday as Richard Okenya.
That you and Richard have a good chemistry.
Thank you very much. We'll continue to do this again. May your profits be higher this week, but may your jokes even be way higher. My name is Richard Okenya. I'll see you around.